So yesterday what did we do? We just created this execution driver, right? And we have created AOM script also to execute. And we created XML configuration file and then loading all the libraries through the configuration. But what we have done exactly is we have created a separate VBS file and the driver file is separate. But instead of that, the same VB script that whatever you have created here, the same VB script, what you can do, you can directly place inside the Excel file, and then you can run that. That's called macros. Okay, so whatever you have written, instead of having a execution file separately and the driver separately, and you can club these two and then you can make into one file, and then the script, if you write inside the Excel, then you call it as a macro, and what you write is inside is instead of say VBS, then you say VBA. Okay, so what I do is, but when you say the macros you need to write, but that should not be XLSX, then you need to save it as Excel macro enabled workbook and execution driver dot XLSM. That will be XLSM extension. Okay. Next, what I do is here to write the macros, to run those macros and all, then normally we'll be having some control buttons. Okay. Okay. So what I do to create the control buttons and all, you should have a button, or you should have a tab called developers tab here, not the button. So to create a buttons and all, or macro buttons and all, you should have some tab called developers tab. In case if the developers tab is not available here, then what you do, go to file options. In the options, go to customize ribbon. Under customize ribbon, can you see a checkbox called developer here, and you just select it. Let me repeat again: file options and customize ribbon, then you have developer tab here. Okay, now we can see developer button. Now what you can do, you say go to the developer tab and you can insert a button. Okay, so there are two things here, form and ActiveX controls, but I will come back to the ActiveX controls later. But you say form, and this, in the form, what you do, form controls, then you select the button. Okay, so now you say the button there. You draw the button here. As soon as you draw the button, then what it does, it will ask you to select the macro. So every button will be associated with the macro. Then first time that you are creating, you say, then I say run selected scripts. You can give any macro name. Each macro is nothing but a sub procedure that gets created, and you should not say okay, and you should say new. You click on new. Then what happened, whatever the macro name that you have given, you can see a sub procedure has come. This editor, Microsoft Visual Basic for application editor, is nothing but where you write the macros. So it is Visual Basic for application, nothing but the VBA. VBA and VB script will be very similar and will be same. So now this also you can change the text if you want, edit text. I'll say run selected scripts. Okay, you say run selected scripts. Now you got this macro, right? And open this VBS file, and whatever the script that you have written here, You paste that script. Okay, same almost. But would do one thing instead of another thing is here. This is just while appending, you need spaces in between. It's okay. And this one, right? When you say Microsoft dot, sorry, what you did here to read the data from Excel, you have used Excel dot application and then you open the workbook and all, right? But now this time the workbook is nothing but the same workbook that from where you are running, right? So you don't need to give the path of this file and all. Then what you can do is simply instead of creating, because you're already there inside the Excel, when you're running this button and all, you're already there inside the Excel, inside the workbook, right? So wherever this file are there. So that means you don't need to create the Excel dot application and you don't need to open that workbook. What you can do is simply instead of say you have got something called this workbook. This workbook is nothing but current workbook that whatever you have opened. Now you can say worksheets of one you can give, remaining thing is going to be same. Remaining flow, whatever it is, everything is going to be same. But only thing is instead of say create object excel dot application and then you say workbooks dot open, then you simply say yeah this workbook. Hmm. Now remaining still okay. We are going to remove this path and all hard coded path. Now, all remaining flow would be same. Nothing is going to be changed, and you don't have something called. You don't need to close this workbook. You don't need to quit the application. You remove this. You remove this. Workbook can be saved, or you can say instead of workbook, you say this workbook. This workbook dot save. And remaining flow, whatever you have done will be same. But only thing is now the scripts are running from third row, right? So the scripts have been placed from third row now. So what you do, I'm not changing the script much. So 3 to total thesis. Where? Line number? Here. I've deleted. So, but I've done already. I'm ret Oh, okay, right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, this one I removed so that the column position is changing, right? Okay, say the column position. This should be 3, this should be 4, and results also should be 5. Okay, so it should be 5. Now let's do one thing. Let me, you know what happens now when you whenever if you click on this button, it will run that procedure. Nothing but the macro that whatever has been assigned for this. Then you click on this now. See what will happen. It opened only training functions. Training functions means it associated only training functions. And you can see it started executing. You save that and you close it. Done. Right? So now you can see here, like you don't need this VBS file anymore. You don't need this VBS file and you don't need to this Excel. You will be having only macro file. Okay, you will be having only macro file. That's it. So what I do is, maybe instead of deleting, I will take this out separately. Right? So now you will be having only the driver file. Next, what you need to do is further, sorry, I don't need this as of now. I'll rename as batch execution. Sheet name is what I'm doing. I'm just giving as batch execution. This is where you are going to mention every script. Also now we can see the status has been automatically updated here. So the status how it has to be updated is, in case, right, in case if it is passed, it should be green. If it is failed, then it should be highlighted with red. So what you do now inside this itself, you write like this. You are getting the result, right? Select case, case of result. I'll say and select. Then you say case passed. Then what you do? This cell dot interior dot color equal to, say, VB green. Case failed dot interior dot color equal to VB red. Case warning interior dot color equal to VBL. Okay, right. So that whenever it gets executed, then the status will be automatically changing like this. So you are controlling the execution from, this is the driver for you, and this is where that you are going to run the scripts. So as an automation tester, what he will be, or whoever wants to execute the script, then what he has to do is, then he just has to, maybe this sheet will be containing the names of all the scripts, or if any test case is not there, probably you can, enter the name of the test case here, and the tester will be very specifying what scripts need to be executing, yes or no, and he has to fill all details. Then you just click on run. When you click on run, what happens? Now understand the flow. I mean, I'm going to change this paths and all, this hard coded path and all will be changing. Um, how you describe this now? First, okay, as soon as you click on, first the tester will open macro file, and in the macro file, then tester, one more sheet is going to be there, specify the configuration. Okay, and first, okay, so the tester will open the macro file and then does the configuration in the configuration sheet, like configuration essence in which environment script should be executed, like test environment or some development environment, or in which environment script should be executed, and also which browser the user has to execute, and what kind of reporting you want, HTML reporting, inbuilt reporting also, or video format reporting, that what kind of report that he or she needs, and select such kind of configuration in the config sheet, and then come to the batch execution sheet and specify what scripts need to be executed. For each script, give yes or no to be executed, and once, okay, so you specify yes or no to be executed, then click on run selected scripts. As soon as user clicks on run selected scripts, internally it runs the macro, and that macro contains AOM and XML DOM. Okay, and why the XML DOM is used? XML DOM is used to read the resource configuration file. In the resource configuration file, we have specified the libraries and repositories need to be loaded related to each module. And AOM is used for launching the tool automatically and opening the one by one test what we mentioned here, and running one by one and to track the result. So now what it does, first okay it will launch the tool, and then it starts opening one by one test whatever we mentioned as yes. And after opening the test, then what it does, it connects to the uh, a resource configuration file, and then from the resource configuration file it will read the libraries and repositories and all from the module element related to this particular test case. And after reading all of them, then it loads those libraries and repositories into the script. And after that it will read it will pass the environment variables like the data file path and execution file path and the sheet name, data sheet name and all will be passed through the test environment variable, test variables, nothing but test parameters, test arguments also you call it as. And based on the data file that what we have provided, execution flow and sheet name, then how the script will be working. The script first, okay, what it does, it loads the required environment variable file, and then it loads all the DLLs, required DLLs into the script. And then it will create the instance. We have used .NET factory.create instance to create a particular namespace and a class, because we have used various classes there in the .NET. We are using some custom DLLs there. And after that it will initialize the log file, HTML log file, and then it will read the data from given Excel file and sheet into an array, and then it will read the execution flow data, whatever the flow that we have specified, we have got in an execution flow sheet, and it will read all the flow and stores it in an array. Then once it reads everything, data and the flow and all, then what it does, then it will start executing from first keyword to last keyword. First it will say from first data set to last data set. In each, for each data set, first function to last function mentioned in that Excel, it will start looping. Then whatever the function said as yes in the execution flow, those functions will be executing for particular data set, each data set. Now we'll be having two things there. We'll be having two execute column in the data set. To execute yes means for the data set it has to execute. To execute no means the data set should not be executed. Okay, should not be executed like that. So once okay it executes, and in between, like if any of the functionality fails, then what we do, it will finalize the log file and execution will be stopped for that particular test, and then it will be moved for, it will be executing the next script, it will execute the next script. And okay, so in case if all the functionalities have been failed, then it will come till end, and then it will finalize the HTML file and the log report. Then the log report will be stored in a results folder, and then it will update the status in the macro file as passed, and then it will move to the next script automatically, right? So that's a way that you can explain, but you need to explain in a way that you present it and all. Then as like I explained the data driven approach, I will explain this also, but I just explained you the skeleton, or the I just explained you the approach that what we have implemented now. Okay, so next what I do is I will do a small enhancement here, because everything has been hard coded, the path and all has been hard coded. Okay, so I don't want to hard code the path and all. Okay, so what you do is one more thing that I will do here, config sheet. So I'm creating a second sheet here. First button that what I'm doing is in this get framework path. And when you say this, what it should do is it has to it will open one open file dialog, folder dialog. Okay, so then what you have to do, you just need to select the framework path folder, and as soon as you select that path folder and you just select the folder and click on OK, that path will be automatically populated there. That means you don't need to type the path and all. Okay, so just wait. Stop recording in between, I'm sorry for that. Execution flow file dot item of 0, then get attribute. Item of 0 dot get attribute of name means, so what it does, it will get the name of the file from that attribute. Execution file path equal to, you specify here str framework path slash test data. Instead of test data, you say execution file name. I will separate this now. I'll create another folder, say execution flow. Okay, so I'll separate the folder, so only test data it should contain. Then I'll take the path into here. I'll just change the folder because you're going to have too many excels. Instead of all, execution flow I will make separately, test data I make separately. Then here what it should be, execution flow dot execution file name. So it gives the absolute path. Then what you do, you take this here, you say str execution file path. So you're just updating the test environment or test parameter value here. So second parameter is nothing but execution file path, right? So you're just updating the path here. So this also you have done. So in Excel, what are all the things that you are going to have to execute? Test case name, just to give the datasheet name, and status will be automatically updating. You're not going to give the status. So result is nothing but the status. Then what you have to do is further HTML log file. HTML log file should be created as hyperlink. Okay, should be created as hyperlink here. Once the execution has been completed, then it should have hyperlink. Then how do you define the hyperlink? Okay, so how do you define the hyperlink? So that again we need to specify. Again, to create the hyperlinks, then you have various things here. Okay, cells.hyperlinks.add. Okay, so we have, and again sorry, in between there is some problem. You select this folder, click on OK. So path should have been set. So now it's launching. It has been past 1 minute. still stopping. Sorry for that. Now you can see the link has come here, and when you click on it, what should happen? 1 minute. Hyperlink, nothing has been created. Huh? Wait. Said, what is that? OWSH dot environment of user dot log file. Go here. Go to computer properties, advanced system settings, environment variable, log file is not set. Why is not set? I have not saved that actually, the test. Environment of user dot item of, what is that, log file, equal to, okay, just done that. Okay, it has been done. Log file has been created as hyperlink. So what user can do now? To run the scripts and all, no need to open the tool or anything. So this is the controller. This Excel file is a controller, and first, okay, whenever you want to execute the scripts and all, don't open the tool, nothing. So tool doesn't contain anything now. It just contains only the libraries, repositories, all those that you need to make sure. 3 Excel files you open. This is keep open. First you open the execution flow and see the execution flow has proper setup for all the test cases and all. You have got all the functions listed out, and specify what functions to be executed in each flow, what functions not required to be executed, you update. Data file you open and you do the changes to the test data if required, and you specify for which data set which test case should be executed for which data set. Okay, and save those 2 Excel files. Then you come to the execution driver, and here you need to add 2 more here, the browser and all. See, every time it is opening only Chrome browser. Okay, so it should not open only the Chrome browser all the time. It has to you should be in a position to select which browser that you want to run. Okay, So based on that, it has to launch the appropriate browser. So you are going to do first, you open this driver file, go to the configuration sheet, and you select the framework folder, and then you specify the environment and the browser, and do you want video capture of the recording, all these things that you set up the configuration here. And once you set up the configuration, you come to the batch execution, and then you specify what steps need to be executed, and you click on, right? And script designing and all, like you do many things, but now when it comes to the execution and all, not too much technical in terms of the execution and all, so we are controlling from here. Now what you do, your framework folder and all, your frameworks and all will be there in the QC maybe, or you create one shared system, and then whoever wants to execute the script, ask them to do one thing. You copy the entire automation framework folder into the local system, your local system. But you need to do that path configuration there in the driver file. You don't need to do any path configuration and all, because now there is no problem in case if the path changes. If you copy to a different folder also, there won't be a problem. But if you have done that association and all through the settings and all, then what would have happened? Then the path will be changing, and then it will not be able to find the files if you have done the association through the settings and all. But now even the path changes, but a simple update that you can do, just open that macro file, change the path, that's it. So to change the path, what you need to, you don't need to type anything. The reason why I have given the selection option, because when you are typing, what will happen, there are chances that you do the spelling mistake on that. But when you select it, your efforts will be reduced. No chances to do the spelling mistake and all, because based on the folder that what you select, the path will be automatically generated. So very simple to update. Maintenance and all will become easy, and no need to have a technical knowledge to execute the scripts and execute the or set up the configuration and all, select the configuration and all. Everything we are driving from Xml. The tool contains only just some basic script to generate the log report to execute the functions. That's it. That's what the tool is. So how many scripts that you have now? Only one script. That's just a driver script. Okay, you will be having. So then now we have arrived at one framework. What's happening? Okay, fine. That's okay. Where I'm getting the framework. Okay. We got one framework now. This is another framework. Now here, nothing is being hard coded. The path and all you're taking from Excel. Let me do the configuration. Where are we launching the browser? How the launch browser is executing? Where it is in the common functions. In the launch application. str browser to execute. Yeah, you're taking from here. But how you're taking from here? Sorry, environment variables, right? But again, manually, every time you need to go and update here, right? To change the browser. But that is also technical part again. So instead of that, we'll see what we can do now. Go to the developer. Form controls. Radio button, sorry, not the checkbox. It should be, because only one should be selected at a time. Radio button. You say Chrome, you assign a macro for this. Set Chrome browser. Should not click on it. Set Chrome browser. You say new. OWSH dot environment of user dot item of what is the parameter name browser, browser. So what it means? What does it mean here? If user selects that browser, clicks on it, then what will happen? The chrome.exe will be set there. Now next is set IE browser. You say iExplore.exe. Then you Internet Explorer. You can select one at a time. Now if you select Internet Explorer, iExplore.exe has been set up here. So if browser this variable contains iExplore.exe, then it will launch Internet Explorer. And you create two more radio buttons. One is for Firefox, second one is for Edge. Since I'm using 14 version, then Edge also is supported, and you can set up all these browsers here. So now if you want to run on a different browser, no need to do any change in the script or anything. So go to the configuration sheet and you select the browser here, and then you come here and then you run the script. That's it, right? This is pure hybrid approach. Okay, so this is one framework that we have. And tomorrow I'll stop now. Tomorrow what I do is this framework, how we can explain, how we can present in the interview. But now what I can do is save as I'll just say driver script. So where I'm saving under D automation scripts save. Okay, done. Inside this I need to change it now. Okay, driver script I made, right? In the framework folder, go to the scripts folder and driver script. That's what it has to open. Okay. So what I did, even this path also has been changed, the script path also. Okay. I will upload now. I can upload entire folder, framework folder into our shared drive, and do one thing. You download it to your system. You don't need to write any code as of now. You try to execute. Okay, you try to execute the script and see whether it executes or not. But think that what you need to do, After execute, if you do, after downloading that automation framework folder, you have to do this setup. Okay, you have to do this setup. So based on this, uh, it should execute. Okay, so no need to change script or anything. So do one thing, you download to your local system and try to execute it, and please let me know if it doesn't execute. Okay, so let me know it doesn't execute. Okay, so tomorrow I will explain you the presentation, how normally you can show this in the interviews, and then I will do another customization. I'll do another customization and we'll get another framework one by one. So with